legends start. In-depth words cutting deep as cleats. Every play analyzed heartbeat by beat. Interviews, raw stories unfold. Behind the curtain, the secrets told. The Golden Room Podcast, sweeping the game from the 50-yard line to the Hall of Fame. Breaking it down, tearing it apart. The Golden Room Podcast, where legends start.
All right, we are live. We are live. This is I don't really have a name for this podcast. You can say it's Bayou Bengal Backers, Golden Broom, whatever you want to call it. Cody, as always, joined with Alex tonight. We are going to talk LSU versus Alabama. Alex, how you doing tonight, my friend?
Just surviving. It's about all you can do with two toddlers and full-time job and everything else with being an adult. So
There you go. Well, this week is my favorite week of the year in football. LSU versus Alabama. Obviously, when Nick Saban come over, it made the rivalry so much better. And now that he's no longer part of the Alabama program, I feel like it's kind of lost its luster, considering we have a guy at Alabama that technically kind of doesn't really fit in because he's not Nick Saban. Then you had Brian Kelly, who did not fit in the state of Louisiana at all. Thankfully, he's gone. It's weird where this rivalry is, but I feel like the hate between the teams is still there. But I don't know, man. I think it's going to be a good game regardless. I think both teams, obviously Alabama's ready to go, as always. They're going to – I mean, as a realist I'm going to take my LSU hat off for a second. I think that Alabama should win this game, to be straightforward with you. There's no reason they should not win this game. It's at home. It's at night. DeBoer probably wears his black jacket. It'll be all good.
Yeah, but I mean, at home at night, I don't think that home team stuff really matters as much. I mean, you're talking about two teams who play in some of the largest stadiums in the country consistently. I mean, especially if you're an athlete or you've done anything at a high level, you kind of zone in. So I mean, at some point, that noise is just consistent static. So I don't think that really matters as much. I think the game's really going to be kind of just relative once we get down to the fourth quarter. I mean, DeBoer's never been a coach that's going to outscore you and hang 70 on you with the defense that's going to shut you out. I mean, pretty consistently, most of the ranked teams he's played, it's been he dominates the first half and then pretty much just lays back the second half, and the adjustments aren't that great. I mean, it's 3 to 10 points. I mean, sometimes he has to come from behind, but for the most part, when he's dominated from the front end, it's been sort of lackluster in the second half. So I don't know. It'll be an interesting game. I mean, LSU has some new energy. Or at least that's the hype I'm going to buy into because ESPN's dumped a bunch of money into that. It really is going to come down to if they found an effective cohesion with the offensive line this week. I mean, everybody knows Les Meyer's a great quarterback. He just hasn't had a lot of protection. They have some damn good running backs. Nobody can doubt that. Jam Miller's a decent running back, but he's a lot like TJ Yeldon at 13 when he hurt his Achilles. I'm not 13, 14 when he hurt his not Achilles, but his hamstring. He was so tentative behind the actual hold. He just danced, never hit it. And so that's been a killer this year for us. Y'all's secondary is ridiculous. So I don't know. It'll be an interesting game. There's a lot of things that'll be new, depending on if the offensive coordinator wants to kind of put something different into the offense within 12 days. But I doubt that'll happen. That'll probably be more like week 10, 11, 12. But, you never know. College football is crazy. So especially if the scheme is simple with the new changes. So, you never know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so with the whole Nussmeier thing right now, they said this week that the backup quarterback, Michael Van Buren, he's gotten more reps than he normally does in a practice week, which leads me to think that either A, they are just saying that and trying to leak that to mess with Alabama's game plan, or B, they legitimately have a plan to do a two quarterback system as needed in this game, which I think would make a lot of sense because every time that Van Buren has come in, which has not been a lot, but when he has made a difference in the game. And it's not because he's necessarily the quarterback, but it's more just 'cause it's a different look. And I mean, he brings a whole different element to the game that because I mean, he plays like Nussmeier in terms of his arm, but he's got legs like Jaden Daniels. Now, he's not as fast or as elusive as Jaden was, but that's his style, and I like it. But I don't know what to expect out of the team this week because you can live in a fantasy world and say, "Well, you know what? Brian Kelly's gone. They're all happy now. They're just gonna play loose and be good, and everybody's gonna do their part, and it's gonna go perfect." But when you get back to reality, you know that that's probably not the case. There's a reason they're sitting 5-3 right now. There's a reason that their offense can't score more than 23 points against the Louisiana Tech team. I
Yeah,
mean,
but they're a 5-3 team with probably easily top 15 talent the entire country.
sure,
That's the biggest differential, and you don't necessarily have to have it be perfect, but you have to have a couple guys clicking, and
absolutely.
that's honestly all you ever need. I mean, none of the guys for the 2010 Auburn National Championship outside of Cam Newton played in the NFL. You
Yep.
know, that says a lot. It doesn't necessarily have to be perfect; it just has to be a couple dudes clicking at the right time. And if everybody's hyped and you get some chemistry going, and you kind of flip up the offensive line and they're gelling a little bit better, I mean, nobody ever accused Brian Kelly of being an elite head coach. I mean, there was a reason everybody always joked on Reddit about him always choking in the BCS, bowl games. He was a good recruiter, decent developer, but an awful game day coach.
Yep.
And that's just the truth of the matter. I mean, that's what differentiated Saban and Urban Meyer. I thought Saban was a better all around coach, but I would take Urban Meyer on game day.
Sure.
Um, in a pinch, and it was a different kind of coach. But it's I don't know. It's always interesting. We'll see. I think the guy from McNeese, I can't think of his name right now, but that dude's a player's coach, and he'll get dudes running through the wall for him, at least for 2 weeks.
Yeah, for sure. So Frank Wilson, that's his name. He's got an extensive history with LSU. He's behind like some of the biggest names that's come through. Leader of the running back room for many years. Then he goes to be a head coach for a little bit, and it didn't really work out. But it wasn't that he wasn't doing good. It's just that he did
He
the
had a
best he
lot
could
of
with what he had.
Well, I mean, you can't handle or can't help. What was it? Two hurricanes and then COVID. I mean,
Yeah,
kind of a lot to deal with.
yeah. I mean, because at UTSA, he was there in the in between gap before they got kind of good, and then McNeese is McNeese. I mean, you can only expect so much out of them, and you know,
But
I don't
yeah,
know.
then
It's
add on natural disasters. I mean,
yeah,
and then a pandemic.
yeah, for sure. I mean,
That's a
it was
lot.
tough. But
I
when they
mean,
said he was coming back, I was extremely happy. He was a guy that I mean, there were points where I'm like, could he be the future head coach at LSU? And now he gets that chance, which I don't know where his standing would be in terms of like the head coach look right now. I mean, I'm sure he would put his name in the hat. I don't think they would take it serious unless he pulls out some miracle and goes undefeated the rest of the season. Then you have to have a conversation. But it actually looks like right now the two names that everybody's consistently mentioning outside of Lane Kiffin, which I really don't think there's any smoke there. I think it's Kenny Dillingham and Eli Drinkwitz.
what's weird is you see the post about some dude on one of the insider boards for LSU said that Nick Saban was going to go Sunday to discuss a contract, and I'm like,
He's not.
what would you? This is what's the wildest thing to me about that rumor. It's like, and then we'll go back to the two you were talking about, but like the guy just turned 75.
Mm-hmm.
So you're on the recruiting trail, and what are you going to say? You get 1 to maybe 2 good years to coach without him, and then you're going to transfer to somebody else. I mean, that's the biggest negative recruiting, tactic you could use all day is his age. And then on top of that, no offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator is going to stay with him more than a year.
Yeah.
So it's such a stupid buy. I mean, that's like investing in good lord, it's like investing in candles,
Yeah.
versus electricity back, 100 years ago.
Yeah.
uh it doesn't make sense. I mean, it's just illogical. But I don't know. I honestly, man, if I was LSU's AD, I'd be going after the guy at Vanderbilt. And
That's who I want. I think I've
yeah,
told you that too. That Clark Lee is that's the guy I want more than anything. I think he would be
dude,
fantastic.
he is polished as shit. Great recruiter, great coach with great players coach. From everything I've read from recruiting, he is great in the den. He's great at the dinner table. He says everything right, does everything you need, but he's got just enough dirty in him that his players are going to be playing loose and playing elite and playing disciplined at the same time, if that makes sense. It's he's going to be a freak coach. I mean, he's going to end up being, probably around a Dabo Sweeney or a little bit better before he ends up retiring, I think.
Absolutely. My buddy Chris Joseph with Sports Bites podcast, which I'm so ready for that to come back. Um, he's an OU fan, so obviously I see where he's coming from. But then again, you kind of, in a way, it's weird because it's like you could want LSU to win, even though you have Bama next. But then again, if Bama wins, that win would look stronger. But it's tough because you got both still left on your schedule. So yeah, I mean, trust me, I need LSU to go after Bama too. And then my buddy Brian says Clark ain't leaving his home, which I get that. Clark, he's deeply rooted in Vanderbilt. That's what he went to school there. His dad, grandfather all had ties to the school before that. And so I get it. But at the end of the day, though, if a team like LSU comes calling, I mean, it's going to take a
I
lot to
mean,
say no.
what did Nick Saban tell his players one time? If you're going to go out and cheat on your wife, at least make sure you're doing an upgrade. And then he said
Yes.
it would have to be Hillary Clinton. I'm sorry, but if you're going to cheat on your wife, it'd be LSU and Alabama, Texas, Florida
Yep.
State. And then, if you're that good of a coach and you make amends later on, you might get welcomed back in. I mean,
Yep.
Alabama had an AD that went to Tennessee and coached there for a little while, and we welcomed back in with open arms. So, it's relative. You never know. I mean, LSU can pay 13 million a year if they wanted to.
Yep. He says Hillary Clinton. What the fuck?
I mean, if you're talking about, this is when he said, was it 09, 2010? And he said if he had the only person that would be an upgrade for Miss Terry was Hillary Clinton. But I mean, he's a known Democrat out of West Virginia. I mean, he did a campaign ad with somebody out of West Virginia that's a Democrat 4 or 5 years ago. So that might be an upgrade to him. I don't know. It
I
wouldn't be
mean,
for
I
me.
can't
I'd maybe
say.
say like an Eva Mendez or something like that. But
Yeah, I can't say that Hillary would have ever been on my list of
I
ones
guess
I'd
it
go
might just be
after.
powerful women. That's the only thing I could think of. I
I
mean,
mean, this is a weird thing, and people always made fun of me for it, and I can't believe I'm going to say it. But when I was younger, I used to always say that, like, I was like, if I ever went after a political figure, it'd be Nancy Pelosi.
dude, she got some bolt-on titties at the end of her life, so I guess
Exactly.
you at least
Exactly.
have something new to play with.
Exactly. So what can I say though? But
Well, dude, I
not,
guess you ever seen that dude on YouTube, Alex Stein, who got in trouble
dude,
for
he is the best.
yeah, making fun of AOC? It's like if you're gonna go after anybody right now, it'd be AOC. You can just, I guess, hit her with that big juicy Latina booty or whatever it was he said.
Yeah. When he was talking about not deporting big booty Latinas, dude, that cracked me up. Like, people don't understand too that, like, he's being funny and people get so offended by his stuff. I crack up when I see it. Like, I'm not a political person at all. Like, I hate politics with a passion, but political humor, I'm all for. I
Dude,
love it.
it's just making fun of it's just natural human satire. I mean, I guarantee the same people mad about that would watch Eddie Murphy Raw and giggle the entire time,
Exactly.
where he talks about Mr. T, giving it to somebody up their ass.
Yeah.
They'd giggle about that, or Michael Jackson talking about don't make fun of me, Tito, I'm crying. Or they'd watch a Richard Pryor or something just vulgar from the 70s, 80s, and cackle, but pretend to be offended about the most ridiculous stuff. It's just wild.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But yeah, man, I can't wait to see what's going to happen this weekend. It's going to be interesting to see with the running back room for us is going to be interesting. I know they've spent a lot of time this week trying to fix the offensive line, at least get a little bit more physical on the interior. I know LSU was a big emphasis of doing that. You guys were solid running off the right side, off the right tackle for
Mhm.
good the A&M game. There was like 6 or 7 pretty big runs off that side. But outside of that, I know the interior is pretty weak, and I hate to say it that way, but there's moments of shining and there's moments of like, what on earth is going on? But Jam Miller, I hate saying it this way, but I mean, he's just good for blocking. And
Yeah.
he's a great, outside, pass catching back because he's got a lot of weight and lower, center of gravity, so he can take a tackle or two and get a first down for you. But the stud that's sitting there is Daniel Hill. It's just how healthy is the guy?
Yeah.
Um, his thighs are bigger than a damn tire on a Ford F-150. It's insane how lower body heavy he is. He's very reminiscent of a Leonard Fournette body type, except maybe 3 inches shorter.
Yeah.
Uh,
Which
and
that's more dangerous in my eyes.
yeah, I mean Fournette just had a ridiculous lower body, so he could just run through people all day, and his upper body was
Absolutely.
huge, but it wasn't massive like Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry looks like a damn deer, running,
Yeah.
because of how thin his legs are, and it's wild. He's never been hurt.
Yeah.
Um,
So we have a question about Alabama's rushing offense. Number 14 total rushing offense, number 117 in rushing average.
oh, dude,
Which,
our offense. I mean, our rushing sucks.
yeah, I mean, we're the same way though,
I
unfortunately.
mean, but the thing is, it's Kalen DeBoer has never really been a rush heavy offensive guy. I mean, it's about balance with him, and balance for him is going to be plays, average plays, and it's not going to be a Nick Saban or SEC style team, unfortunately, and it's frustrating watching it. But we've got the talent there to be able to get 150 plus yards. It's just Jam Miller is unfortunately getting that preferential treatment because he's a leader. He's everything you want out of a player, except he just is so hesitant around the damn hole. He won't hit it and run.
Yeah.
You're 5'10", 215 pounds. And you're lower body heavy. You should be able to run somebody over. But thankfully, you know. Simpson has been able to leverage Germ, and he's been able to leverage Jam and a couple other guys with some swing passes that kind of end up at being outside runs, anyways.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're still getting yards that are relative to rushing, but yeah, I mean that's one of our biggest weaknesses, and I don't know what to say about it outside the fact that maybe it's just the fact that DeBoer just doesn't care about it as much as Saban did. Saban was from an era where 200 yards rushing, 200 yards passing was a damn good game. And now, if you're shy 400 yards 400 yards passing, and 200 yards rushing, it's considered a shit game in modern football. And I'm exaggerating, but you basically have to have a PlayStation stats or you're trash. Um,
Yeah.
because you have teams out there like SMU and stuff like that are just putting up absurd numbers. A&M with their 18-year-old quarterback, and I know he's not 18, but he's as skinny as an 18-year-old,
Yeah.
throwing up 450 yards passing, 150 yards rushing. I don't know. The game's just different. And it's just accepting what your team's turning into, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, because I feel like Ty Simpson's like your stereotypical Alabama quarterback.
Yeah.
And I like that about him. I think I think he's really good. And I think that this game for him is definitely big in terms of like the Heisman voters. I think they're going to have a big eye on this because these will be the best defensive backs that he's faced this year to this point.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
which is, I mean, really the
Eventually,
same,
yeah.
you know, same goes for LSU and against Bama's DBs. I mean, Bama's DBs are great as well. So, I mean, I feel like obviously he throws against them in practice, so that helps Ty out. But I
And he's
don't know
throwing
how.
against the twos. That's always been the system, though. He's throwing against the twos. He's not throwing against the ones.
Yeah.
I
So,
mean,
I mean, it's
it's
going to
still.
be it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out because I mean, you have the matchup. All right, so for Nussmeier, I mean, you have Dejoun Lee, who is a stud for Bama, and I can't remember all your other DBs' names, but uh, LSU. The problem that they have though right now is there's like just like a everything they do is so predictable. It's like when they're going to run the ball, you know they're running it, and you can tell where they're going to run it to. When they're throwing a pass, you have a generic idea of where it's going to happen. So I'm hoping that with them changing their style this week, I'm hoping that they get it to where they understand the strengths of who they have. So you have Aaron Anderson, hit him in the middle. You have Barry and Brown, hit him deep outside. You have let's see, who would be the next receiver? I'd probably say. I guess I'll call Trey's Green a receiver, even though he's listed as a tight end. He's Calvin Johnson. So with him, you can hit him anywhere on the field, and he's good. So I mean, he's 6'7" for God's sakes, and he's a basketball player, so his wingspan is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I
You can,
I watched a couple of his highlights, and I thought to myself, this is a freak tight end. And then it's just like you can't defend that. I mean, you have to be a damn pole vaulter to defend that.
yeah. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. So Brian says he sent me a DM, and I'm going to check this out. So Ty Simpson. Okay, let's see. On a deep ball, which is I'm not sure exactly like how deep that pass has to be, but on his deep ball, he's got a 46.9% completion percentage. So he's 15 to 32, 431 yards, five touchdowns, one interception. So, which that actually kind of says a lot about him too, though. Just his one interceptions on a deep ball, that's pretty good actually.
Yeah,
Um,
but the difference is though you're talking about playing a defense who has 10 interceptions on the season. That's a little more than one per game. So I mean that's one or two errant passes, and you might float. I can't think of the guy's name. He's playing safety this year, strong safety, or I can't think of it. It was Harold something from last year that was y'all's leading, sack leader.
Anything about
If they
Harold Perkins, yeah.
if they float him back up on the outside and let him rush Tyson or being Ty a couple times, I mean, it, it's I don't know. They may throw everything at the damn wall. I know from what I was reading, there, Harold's trying to get himself an NFL position that he can be elite at to get drafted because he's a little bit of a tweener in terms of height and weight.
Hmm.
Um, it's like what was that guy's name from Missouri that was the defensive end that was really good?
Michael Sam.
Yeah, I mean he was elite for college, but he was okay in the NFL. And guys like that, they got to find something. It's kind of like also with Auburn's quarterback. God, what was that guy's name? From the kick six era. Uh,
Mm. Now, who was that?
oh,
I can see him in my head too, and that's what's Nick Marshall.
yeah, Nick Marshall. Yeah, the guy from Georgia.
Yeah,
He was a great college quarterback, but he tried to play DB in the NFL because he couldn't play quarterback in college. I mean, in the NFL. So it's kind of like, what are you going to do? Chase your your future or, be elite for NIL. And that's going to be interesting to see how that pans out over the next 20 years. Um, but I don't know. It'll be an interesting game, man. I don't know. Simpson's good, but I still feel like he hasn't taken over a game like Vandy's quarterback has, where it's been like he's been the difference maker. He took over with his legs, or he made some elite passes down the stretch within the last two quarters to seal the game. He's elite, but he also has a lot of elite talent around him.
Yeah.
Jake Coker took until the Michigan State game in 15 to take over a game.
Mm-hmm.
It helps when you have Derrick Henry carrying the ball 45 times, 3 games in a row. But I mean, he made some passes, kind of like AJ McCarron finally in 11. We played you guys in New Orleans. He made some great passes on the sideline to what was that guy's name? Number 11, I think was his number. Was it DeAndrew White?
That sounds right.
It might have
I know
been
who
DeAndrew
you're.
White. I can't remember. He didn't do a whole lot in
I
the
forgot about him.
NFL. I think he played for the Cardinals maybe a season or two. But it's there's games where that quarterback turns that corner and you see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think he's taken that step just yet, if that makes sense. And I think the same thing with Nussmeier. I mean, the problem is he's had his ass whipped all year because the offensive line hasn't protected him. He's a damn good quarterback. It's just, give the guy an opportunity to throw the football to some elite talent. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah.
And, you rotate some fresh bodies in and have some willingness to stop being stubborn and loyal, and some things can happen, especially with some turnovers. I wouldn't be surprised if, Simpson throws 2 interceptions or at least one this game. But, you pray to God there's no damn fumbles. And maybe Keenan Williams might actually pay attention when he, is laying on a football instead of taking 10 minutes,
Yeah.
taking some breaths.
Yeah. I'm
That
hoping
will
that
help.
I'm hoping Nussmeier gets shoved into a closet before the game and just screamed at by the coaches to snap out of his consistency that he thinks he's working towards. Because one thing Nussmeier said in preseason was that he's been working on his patience and his timing and all that, and he's trying to be a more consistent quarterback. Well, I think he's trying too hard at that, and it's making him scared to just let loose. I want the true freshman Garrett Nussmeier that came in the SEC championship when we were just getting hammered and they pulled Jaden and they brought him in and he was just slinging it through for like 300 yards against Georgia. I want that version of Nussmeier to pop out this week and just have fun. Like he's in elementary school throwing around with his friends. Like that's what I want to see on the field tomorrow night. Now, I don't know if it'll happen.
Well, that's the thing with him is he has the capacity to do that. That the flip side of that is your other quarterback. We don't know if he has the capacity to do that, and it's a lot of it's coming from. I mean, Nussmeier, from my understanding, it's been a while since I've been able to invest myself in college football to remember a lot of this stuff. I mean, Nussmeier is a coach's son. Am I correct?
Yep.
So he's already got a high football IQ. And you're going to hear that stereotypical, he's a lunch pail kid and
Yep.
shit like that. So we already know he's relatively above average in athletics because of his build and because of his high school, stats and all the sports he played. So it's just at some point he's got to get over whatever it is in his head. And it may just be something related to the offensive line. It may be injuries. I mean, after a point, if you're playing on a, 60% good, oblique and a 80% good ankle, you're going to be a little bit more tentative, not trusting your right guard or your left tackle, on certain plays, especially after, 4 or 5 series of them failing to do what their job is. So, I don't know. It may be the fact that you've got somebody who has just got some trauma on this season. I hate using that word, but I think that may describe it perfectly for him. Whereas your backup just goes in feeling fresh because he's not gotten hit, and sacked consistently, and he's got the capacity to get away a little bit, more effectively, and push the ball down the field.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So before we close this thing out, let's give our predictions for this game. So, what you got?
I think first half. I mean, it can go both ways. First half can be Alabama getting up 24-10 pretty quickly, just as effectively as it could be being 10-7 going into half. But I think Alabama will dominate effectively on the offensive side of the ball the first half of the game. I think LSU will come out with better adjustments. And I think it'll end up being something like a 31-27 or a 34-31 Alabama game. But at the same time, within the last 2 minutes going into the fourth quarter, depending on who scored last, I think it could go either way. But yeah, I think 31 or 34, 27-31 Alabama, something like that.
Okay. I like it. So I asked Grok today when I was on X. I put in a Team A and a Team B. Team A was Alabama. Team B was LSU. I put in every single stat offensively and defensively that they have. And then I put in their common opponents and locations of said opponents. And I put in all the stats for those games. And I said, give me unbiased prediction for this. So it broke down a bunch of stuff, and then it came up with a score of 32-15 for Alabama. And then on a second simulation, it says Team B upset 27-24 LSU. And I was like, okay.
That's
And
cool. Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, really just after looking into everything and really running through numbers, I mean, it's the fourth time I've talked about the game this week. So I've given different prediction every time I've talked about it. And going into the game, I think that LSU has a chance because of what this game is. But the realist side of me thinks Alabama probably wins this game like 31-20. But then there's also that part of me that believes that with Ty Simpson not being a mobile quarterback, LSU's 0-3 against mobile quarterbacks this year. Against regular pocket passers, we're good.
He's a little more mobile than I think people think.
Sure. He is, but I'm saying like every play he's not going to roll out and run.
Oh, no. He's the first guy all day.
Yeah, for sure. So I think realistically, I don't think this game is actually as lopsided as a lot of people think.
I don't think it's lopsided at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
both teams are very equal in terms of talent across the board.
Absolutely. I mean, LSU has the talent to be a national champion, but they had the leadership to be a 7-5 team, unfortunately.
I mean, that's Brian Kelly. I mean,
exactly.
Just, he did a good job at Notre Dame, but he's done a good job at schools that are more like second-tier programs that don't schedule a lot of anybody. And thankfully, Notre Dame, most of their schedules, and I'm sorry if I offend anybody saying this, but if you look at their schedule, most of those people are historical powerhouses who have not been relevant a very damn long time outside of like USC. I mean, Navy has never been relevant since the 40s. I mean, they probably have been, but like most of those are just old names. So it's nice to build your credentials, especially when you have a lot of voters out of the Northeast who only care about that because they don't watch college football. They care about hockey.
Yeah.
So, it's a different kind of thing up there. So, I'm just an idiot. So that might be a thing.
We all are. But give me in this game, as much as I want to call the upset, give me Alabama 27-24. Tight game, last possession decides the victor.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good, yeah.
So with that being said, though, it's been a good show. Much appreciate everybody coming in, commenting, and all that. So the big question is, are we going to see you podcasting in the future?
If you invite me, I got to figure it out with the wife and the kids. But, I mean, I can't leave the house after the seizure. So, at least I'm good till April. So just hit me up.
There you go. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoy the game tomorrow night. And we will see you next time.
On the diamond where they play, sweeping competition.